Oh, yes.
Κύριε Ζαριανάκη, είμαστε έτοιμοι?
Ναι, είμαστε έτοιμοι.
Ωραία, καταρχήν να ευχαριστήσω όλους όσους συνεδόθηκαν. Προφανώς αυτοί που πραγματικά ενδιαφέρονται και
Μικροφωνίζετε, κύριε Πανάγο, μικροφωνίζετε. Να κλείσει ο κύριος Βιτόρ, αν είναι δίπλα σας, να κλείσει το μικρόφωνο.
Οκ. Θα πρέπει να τον ενημερώσω. Οκ. Αυτό που ήθελα λοιπόν να σας πω είναι ότι είναι πολύ σημαντική η εκπαίδευση και ένα μεγάλο βήμα για την Ομοσπονδία μας, αυτό που γίνεται. Θα ήθελα να το αγκαλιάσουν όσο γίνεται περισσότερο τα σωματεία, ίσως και να βοηθήσουν τους προπονητές να μπορούν να συμμετέχουν σε αυτές τις διοργανώσεις μας. Και είναι ένα πρόγραμμα το οποίο ξεκινάει. Στην ουσία θα είναι για τα επόμενα χρόνια. Δεν είναι δηλαδή κάτι το οποίο είναι για ένα χρόνο και τελείωσε. Είναι το εκπαιδευτικό σύστημα που υιοθετεί η Ελληνική Ομοσπονδία της ITF όσον αφορά την εκπαίδευση. Ο κύριος Βίτορ Καμπράλ είναι καθηγητής στο Πανεπιστήμιο ΤΕΦΑ με πολλές περγαμηνές. Είναι ο Developer Officer για την Ευρώπη και νομίζω ότι αυτά που έχει να μας πει είναι πάρα πολύ σημαντικά. Ευχαριστώ. Vitor, please, can you continue?
Okay, thank you very much, Michalis. Good morning, everyone. So it's a big pleasure for me to be here, sharing with you some of the ideas and the strategies that we have in the ITF. As you may know, we are in Rhodes, just finished the level 1 course, which was very successful with a lot of coaches and at very good level. So I wanted to share with you, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this presentation. I will give you an overview of what we are doing in Europe. So my job is basically to oversee and supervise every single program that we have in the ITF for all the 50 countries of Europe. I will give you the overview of those programs. Also, we are working with our regional association, Tennis Europe. So they get funding from the ITF, and it's also part of my job to supervise the spending of and the investment of that funding. For the ITF, Europe is the biggest region with more countries, 50 countries in total. It's also the more developed region, the region that produces the biggest number of top-level players, not just professional players, but also juniors. But we still, of course, try to keep our leadership position. And as you will see, we have a lot of programs that are important also for Greece. It's very important, I would say it immediately in the beginning, that Greece actually tries to be in the first group of countries in development, because now we can see that Greece is very successful, at least for the professional players. This is a good moment, but as we know in tennis, many countries have good moments, and then at some point that can change. So we know that tennis is one of the three sports that have over 1 billion followers. So this is very important for the sport. We are, of course, behind football and basketball, but we are number 3. So when we count all the followers, all the fans that we have around the world, this is a big number, and this is the let's say the universe that has the potential to bring a revenue to the sport and actually to develop it. We are aiming, and this is the biggest objective that the ITF, the overall objective that the ITF has for the next years, We are currently, from the numbers that we have in 2019, we have close to 90 million players in all the world, but we want to increase for 30 million more until 2030. So we call this our objective 30 million by 2030. So this will focus all the strategy that we have. We have a lot of programs to support this, and I can tell you that we are on a good track. So I think it's very important for every single country actually to support the ITF, and it's also very important for the clubs in each nation to support their own federation. The ITF primarily, we don't work with directly with private entities or with private coaches or with private players. We always work through the federations. So it's very important to keep this connection to the federation. Normally, when we think about the development strategy of the ITF, we divide it in what we call the development pillars that are the foundation of the strategy of the ITF. And as you can see, we have 5 of those pillars. Facilities, which is, as we will see, the biggest challenge for most of the countries, because building the facilities, if the country doesn't have facilities, this is a very big investment. We're talking about millions of euros that we use for the facilities. We have education, and actually, as I told you, this event that we organized here in Rhodos was part of this education pillar. Participation, which is aiming to increase the number of players. So this becomes the in terms of the strategy of 30 by 30, becomes the most important pillar. Performance, which is the pillar that controls the players. We focus mainly on junior players, but we also support professional players in the beginning of the careers. And the events that normally for all the organizations are the biggest source of funding that we have, not just in tennis, but in any sport. So the events are core, I would say, the core business of all the sports. For the ITF, the events that are our flagship events, the Davis Cup and the Billie Jean King Cup, are the most important. But then we have the World Tennis Tour, comprises a lot of tournaments worldwide. So just talking about the development officers, development officers distributed by the 6 regions. As I said, I'm responsible for Europe. Then we have programs, but also to visit the countries. So basically, the development officers will work as the eyes and ears of the ITF, giving a perspective of the reality that we have in the country. So it's very important for us to travel to the places, to connect with the federations. As I said, we work mainly with the federations, and it's very important for us to have a clear notion of the reality that we find in the countries. How do the federations work? How many people do they have? And try to establish working relationships with those people so we can actually promote all these programs that I'm going to talk about. Looking at the pillar of events, the main events that we have in Europe, and all of these events we manage through Tennis Europe. We have 2 regional touring teams. So the touring teams, they are comprised of 8 players, 4 boys and 4 girls, going with 2 coaches to a selected group number of events, of tournaments. Normally 4 tournaments that we have, both in the 14 and under team and in the 16 and under. Those players will travel with 2 coaches, 1 male and female coach, throughout these tournaments, and everything is supported by ITF and Tennis Europe. So for the 14 and under, we make a selection process that goes through the 14 and under development championships that you can see in the slide there. But also for the 14 and under ranking of Tennis Europe. For the 16 and under team, we use the ITF 18 and under ranking. On the national projects, we have the chance to provide the nations with the possibility, with the funding, to have a national training camps. These are training camps that the idea is to actually support the best junior players in the country. We focus more on the 14 and under age group, which is the most important for us. But the nations are free to do it for 12 and under, or even for 16 and under in some cases. Then we have the regional training camps that we put together. In the regional training camps, we put together a few. Was something that was done this year. 3 countries: Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. The training camp was in Lithuania. I was managing we have the Tennis Europe Academy, which is part of a partnership that Tennis Europe has with the academy in Czech Republic in Prostejov. For the tournament, the flagship events that we have, flagship Tennis Europe, the most important one is the Development Championships, which is basically 2 Tennis Europe tournaments, 14 and under, back-to-back, that are organized every year in Antalya, Turkey. So we invite 10 of the nations that we have in Europe, 10 of the nations that we have in Europe that are the most, the nations that struggle the most with funding and with producing players. So I would say that these are the priority nations all in all. We also have, since last year, the 14 and under small states championships, that, as the name implies, invites all the 9 small states, countries that have under 1 million people in their population. So those small states, they have also the possibility to be in a tournament. In the 14 and under development championships, there is also a 12 and under training camp. So we also ask the federations to send us teams of their best 12 and under, so they can have a chance to spend those 2 weeks with us. The training camp comprises a normal training camp during the first week, and then in the second week, a 12 and under Tennis Europe tournament. The facilities programs, as I said, facilities are the biggest investment that the country can make. Most of the countries in Europe developed, and they have a good number of facilities. Some of the countries have a lot of facilities, but are developing their own facilities, or the facilities are not adequate to develop players. So this is where we try to help with the facility grant program. So we provide some funding to help the countries to actually develop their own facilities. We focus more on national training centers, if the countries have them. Currently in Europe, I would say that 70% of the countries, they have a national training center. The focus of the national training center is that it is a place where we try to bring together all the best players in the country, so they have a chance to practice and to compete with the best players. So this is very important, especially for small nations, because we have players in the regions that normally, when they are very good, they tend to be isolated. So it's a good and very important thing to actually bring those players together. So we help them in their development. So this is why we focus very much on the national training center. We also have a national training center recognition program that is quite recent in the ITF. And Europe, again, is leading. Most of the countries that are already recognized, like Great Britain, France, and Lithuania. Also, we have Switzerland that was recently recognized as gold level. And as you can see, we have several other countries in different levels applying for this program. In this program, they get exactly all the information that they need to have, so they can see what we in the ITF consider as a high quality national training center. We have for this program for next year. So Cyprus, Slovakia, Moldova, and Norway will be the next countries that we are already working with, that have national centers. In the case of Moldova, for instance, the national center is actually being built, so we are waiting for the finish of the construction that was actually also supported by the ITF. So this is a big investment that we make, and we try to help the countries to go through this. Education is one of our biggest pillars. So in education, we used to call this pillar coaches education, but actually we expanded the universe of the stakeholders that we are trying to engage in terms of education, meaning that it's not just for the coaches, but also for the players, for the parents. Actually, we had a workshop for parents here in Rhodos, which is an activity that we try to do. We try to bring in the parents closer to us so they have the correct information, and they can actually help the federations develop their own players, because in the end of the day, the parents are the ones that are investing not just their sacrifice, but also their children to provide the nations with new players. So it's very important for us to engage them in this, in the education pillar. This is why it's not anymore a coaches education just pillar. But on the coaches education side, what we try to do is recognize the best coaches education systems in the world. Europe is leading. Once again, we have the biggest coaches education systems recognized. So 26 of the 50 countries in Europe are already recognized. You can see the list there. Hopefully at some point we can recognize Greece. Actually, we already did the application process with the federation, and also the good work that has been done by the federation in this pillar with the coaches, with several courses that were hosted last year, and with this course that we just finished with the funding of the ITF and of Olympic Solidarity, which is also very important for us to have this kind of cooperation. Also, the municipality of Rhodes also helped in this process. So it's very important to engage all these governing bodies so that we can provide funding for this. Hopefully in Greece, what we will see in the next years is the continued process of education going on, because it's very important to have the international education system focused in this case on the ITF content that we have. We have a lot of different content, and actually we even have an online education platform, which is the ITF Academy. And Greece is one of the countries that is benefiting of this program. So all the coaches courses that we are doing in Greece, they are supported by this online education platform. We have currently 22 countries that are using this platform. The countries that are underlined were the countries that in 2023 entered the program. So this is a very good tool because it helps the nations to have a very sophisticated, full of content online education system without having to build it. Because as you may know, this kind of system is very expensive. And so for the countries like this, so the ITF will provide the countries with this possibility. Also, in the ITF Academy, all the content that we have is translatable. So we have all this content ready to be translated in the different languages. And we've been working already with Hellenic Tennis Federation to translate into Greek all the content that we have. As you can imagine, is a very big process, but we have also the possibility to fund the federation so they can reach out and have professional translators doing this kind of job. These are the countries that are our targets for this year in 2024. So we are trying always to increase and to expand the ITF Academy. You can see also the coaches courses. We have already the example. I could have used already the photographs of the course that we just finished yesterday here in Greece. But this is the kind of activity that we have. So a lot of countries, you can see that the number of countries is quite big. So we try to reach out most of the countries that don't have a coaches education system or are starting to develop their own coaches education system, like it's the case of Greece. that only recently started to do the ITF coaches courses. So we help them in many ways with funding or reaching out to the Olympic Solidarity and the Olympic committees to support them in this endeavor. But this is the examples that we have from many of the countries. So we have a system that has basically 4 courses, certification courses for the coaches. We have a short course in the beginning that is the entry level, that's called the play tennis course, only of 4 days. And then we have a level 1, 2, and 3, all of them with normally 2 weeks that we use to deliver this kind of course. So we try to progress the coaches into the different levels. We have many possibilities, so the coaches can have these opportunities inside their own country, but they can also reach out to the ITF and do these courses in different countries. So as an example, we had a coach from Moldova that was in this course in Greece, so it's possible to have selected Greek coaches going to the ITF courses. Again, the connection with the federation is very important here, because it's the federation that needs to nominate the coaches to send to us. Of course, we also recommend which coaches are ready to do this kind of thing, but it's very important to have all this cooperation. So it's important to be close, for the coaches to be close with their national federation, but also very important for the national federation to be close to the ITF, to be inside these programs. Those examples that you have there on the photos are of an entry-level course in Iceland in the top photo, and in the bottom a level 2 course, very high level. The coaches that we had here, even the Davis Cup captain was one of the candidates in the course. And also, as an interesting note, in Latvia, the president of the federation is the former player Ernest Gulbis, was a top 10 player. So we had a chance to be with him. He had a chance to be in the course. So it's very important to attract the attention of these people and actually progress with the programs in the countries. So this is what we look for when we try for the funding. So we have normally $10,000 that we try to get from the Olympic Committee to organize a normal level 1, level 2, or level 3. We also have a program called the Developing National Sports Systems that has a bigger budget of $30,000, where we can bring an external expert or tutor from the ITF that will stay in the country for 12 weeks throughout the year. Normally we stagger these visits, so they will come and they will actually deliver some of these education opportunities and create an extensive report for the ITF. As a development officer, normally whenever the country has a chance to apply and to be successful in the application for one of these programs, I try also to go with an expert at some point, so we can provide the biggest impact in the country as possible. Also, the ITF provides some funding normally for the play tennis course, which is the 4-day course of $2,000. So we select a few countries that we want to provide with this support. Just to give you an idea, Greece last year was one of the countries that was supported with this. We also train international tutors. So the international tutors are people that we select from the different courses in the different nations. These tutors help us to deliver the courses internationally, so meaning they go to other countries actually to deliver the courses. So some of the courses I'm present, but most of the courses are done by this team. That is, in the end, the team selected by me to deliver all those courses in the different countries. We also train national tutors for the different countries that are actually acting as the coaches education directors in the different countries. Again, as an highlight, if you look at the international tutors, we have Vanja Stušli, that is from Bosnia, and she is one of our international tutors. She is currently helping the Hellenic Tennis Federation to develop their coaches education system, and she was with us in this course, and she has been doing an excellent job to help us to progress Greece. We also have conferences. We have a conference, a regional conference with Tennis Europe, actually this year. So we alternate the worldwide coaches conference that you see there. We alternate with the regional coaches conference. So in 2023, we have American. This year we will have the regional or Tennis Europe coaches conference in a selected country. So we're still in the deciding process of choosing this to deliver the Tennis Europe Coaches Conference. So hopefully it will be an interesting event also for Greek delegates and coaches to attend, so officials from the federations, because at some point I would expect that that Greece would have the ambition to host one of these big events. To give you an idea, the Worldwide Coaches Conference normally has 1,000 coaches that come from all over the world. The Tennis Europe Coaches Conference has close to 200 coaches coming from all the 50 countries in Europe. So in 2025, we still don't know who is going to host the Worldwide Coaches Conference, the big one, but hopefully it will come to Europe. We also rotate the region. So as I said, last year was in South America. Hopefully in 2025, it will be in Europe. For the participation programs, we have our biggest program in participation is a very flexible and overarching program that we have, and we put all the small programs like school tennis, like junior training camps, 12 and under, 14 and under, in what we call the Junior Tennis Initiative. So we have currently 22 nations that are active in Europe. We hope that Greece at some point is able to join this program. So we focus more in this program on the 10 and under programs. So programs that use the slower balls, the red, orange, and green balls from the system that was developed by the ITF and introduced in 2007. That is widely used throughout the world and in Europe for sure. Also here in Greece, every single club that I've seen has this system in place. So at some point, we hope that Greece comes to this family of the Junior Tennis Initiative. So basically, what we provide is funding for the coordinators, for the coaches that work in this program, but also we provide material. So balls, small rackets, mini tennis nets, all this kind of material can be used. The photo that you see there is actually from Poland, that organizes one of the biggest participations events in Europe, with close to 10,000 players that come all over Poland. They get together in Warsaw, in the capital, in a big football stadium, where they have a big one-day event with the national television and with the Davis Cup team, and with also the federation as the host of this big event. So it's one of the biggest examples we have of a participation event. So the target nations, Greece is once there again, is one of the 4 nations that we hope comes together for this program. Number, which is the rating system. In 2 years, we will have all the 50 countries using this system. One of them actually Greece. So Greece has done an excellent job in moving forward, and we thank the ALN Federation for basically the rating system is an opportunity actually to provide everyone a system that will golf, so everybody will have a rating that will identify the level, an algorithm that calculates all the matches that all the competitive matches that every player versus as long as the player is evolving. But this will provide, and I think that this is the most important thing of the World Tennis Number, this provides an opportunity actually to register every single player that you have in the country. And we're not talking just about the competitive or high-level players, but also about the recreational players. These recreational players, normally for most of the federations, is the large universe that the federation has no communication with. To give you an example, most of the statistics that we have from all the countries in Europe, we have this large universe of recreational tennis players that are much bigger. It's a much bigger number than the competitive players. And when we look on the players that have any kind of connection with the federation, it's only 10% of the total universe. So this is very important for the federations actually to reach out and to capture all these people that are actually involved in tennis but have no communication with the federation. So this is what the World Tennis Number provides and has this big potential to do this. Again, looking at one of the most important projects that we have this year is the Global Tennis Report. We are asking all the nations to give us the data. So ITF is a data-hungry company. We use the data actually to develop all these programs that I'm talking about. So all these programs and all the applications that we bring to the federations are based on this data. What data do we need? Everything that is related to tennis. So the number of courts, the number of clubs, the number of players, the number of women, all the different age groups, the sales of the rackets, whatever is important for tennis and has any connection with tennis, we want the data from the countries. So we are currently in this process. Greece is also one of the countries that is delivering the data. The deadline to finish this is in April, and after that, we will provide all the nations with an extensive report on this survey. Finally, on the performance side, we have the international teams. So I already talked that we had the regional teams with Tennis Europe. So with Tennis Europe, we have two teams, 114 and these are mostly the 18 and under teams, although we also have a 14 and under team that you can see there. The team to Florida is an ITF 14 and under team, but all the others are 18 and under teams. And we also have a pro circuit team. So we select the best players, basically the best junior players that we have in the region. Actually, this program is for the whole world. I'm happy to say that the European players, as we have the most developed region, they take up more than 50% of the slots that we have on the teams, which is perfectly normal because the level of the players in Europe is much higher. Some of the, as you can see for this example of 2023, we have some small nations that actually produce a lot of players, and a good example, the best example actually in Europe is Bulgaria. The kind of program that actually supports a lot of players. We have a few examples from Greece. The most recent one is Valentini Grammatipopoulos. She was in the team, so she has been supported by this program. We also have grants. The Grand Slam player grants, as the name is saying, they are voted by the Grand Slam, so the grant is money to fund the teams, but also to give this player grants. So this is a support number of travel that we need to do. Life of the tennis player is to 2 weeks per year, which is basically most of the year we are traveling, we are playing, at least for the players that we have in the region. Grant that we are giving to the players. So we started the year Okay, so hopefully you can see again the presentation. And as I said, we're coming close to the final. Just to let you know and to look at the overview of all the programs that we have, I'm very happy. I'm very proud, together with the team that we have in London and also the team that we have in Basel of Tennis Europe, that we are able to deliver this to the best players and in the region. So we have the players supported in the Junior Tennis Initiative, but as I was saying, normally focused on the 10 and under. We also have the national training camps for 10 and 12 and under age group. Also for the 12 and 14 and under, we have the regional training camps, and then all the big events and the teams, the 14 and under championships. We have the development championships and also the small states championships, development championships in March, the small states championships in August. And then we have the regional teams, 14 and under and 16 and under. And as we saw, the international teams and the player grants. We have already some of the players. I've been 7 years in this assignment, and I'm very happy to see some players that we had a chance to start tracking when they were 11 or 12 years old. And they are progressing through all this and these programs and reaching the player grants. We have a good example from a player from Montenegro, Iva Lakic, that actually went through every single one of these programs and actually became good enough to be selected for the player grants. So this is a good example of what the countries can access. As I said, also part of the job of the development officer is to travel. So I constantly travel to all the countries in Europe. I've been in every single country and in the region. So as I said, this has gives the possibility for me to have a very clear notion of what the federations are doing. And this creates the excellent relationship that we have with most of the nations. And this is also something very important to understand. The nations need to be active. The federations need to be active. So there needs to be this connection between clubs, players, and coaches with their own national federation. And the national federation needs to reach out to Tennis Europe and the ITF for us to engage with them. As you can imagine, with being a single person and trying to manage all these programs in a region so big as Europe, for me, the attention span I have for a country is always very short, and it depends always on the interaction. If we have a country that is inactive, that doesn't reply to emails, or that doesn't engage with us, then I move on to the next country. So it's very important to have these kind of events and to have the possibility, like Greece had in these last 2 weeks, with 3 international tutors, one of them myself, a development officer responsible for all the region. So this is always a very good opportunity for the coaches and the federation to engage. And this is why we are doing this kind of presentation, to give you, just before I fly out of the country, to give you an opportunity actually to engage and to have this kind of information that I think it's very important. So in summary, looking at what are the challenges for every nation. The biggest challenge, as I said, is facilities. Greece has a lot of facilities, but could use some more. For sure, the weather is good in the country, so this is a big advantage. In some nations, the weather is not too good, and they have very harsh winters, so they need indoor facilities. But in Greece, actually, this is not an issue. But I would say that in terms of facilities, we still have some way to go. Because for a country the size of Greece, it would be better to have a few more facilities. Also, the coaches, especially the education side, they need to be engaged. They need to have access to all the information that we have. This is why the education programs are so important. The gender equality side, which is a big concern for the ITF, and culturally Mediterranean countries, they don't have a lot of engagement of women, especially in the coaching area or in leadership. So it was very good to see a good number of female coaches participating in this event that we had. But this is also something that we need to focus. Nowadays, we have a lot of funding for gender equality, so this can provide female coaches with the extra opportunities that they should engage at any point. But if they don't participate, so this is why it's important the connection with the federation, and the federation to connect with the ITF. You need to participate. You need to identify those coaches that have possibilities and that have the quality necessary to progress in the international level, and then go forward with that. And finally, participation, as I said, is the biggest concern for countries that are small. And Greece is not properly a small country. It's actually a medium-sized country, at least by European standards, because 10 million people is much bigger than many other countries that we have in Europe. Like if you look at the Baltic states, they have close to 2 million people, so it's a very small country, 5 times smaller than Greece. But anyhow, they produce a lot of players, like Lithuania and Latvia, for instance, are good examples in this kind of situation. And finally, I would say that this would be my last recommendations, and coming close to the end of this presentation is very important. Support your national association. This is very important for all the stakeholders, coaches, clubs, parents. Everybody needs to be close to the federation. It's very easy to fall into the trap of always criticizing the federation, and in the end, the federation represents the country, at least with the ITF. So it's not just a question of always being against the federation or against federation programs. You need to have knowledge. You need to be close to the federation, and actually to force the federation also to be active. So the only way to do this is actually have a good cooperation environment. In the end, it's good for everybody. Participate in the programs. Whenever you have a program like this, you have a coaches course, send your coaches. As clubs, you should send your coaches to these programs. Actually, you should fund also the coaches to go to this kind of events, because this is an investment that you are doing in your own club, in the education of the coaches. Always provide feedback to your federation all the time, constructive feedback. So whenever you have an event, is it a tournament, is it a coaches course, is it a seminar, provide the federation with feedback. This is important for the federation to design programs, and it's important information also for us in the ITF. Promote always education to all the stakeholders. So coaches are the main target, but everybody should have information. So the flow of information is very important, and this is what provides the opportunity to have good connections with the different stakeholders. So education is very important. This is why every country should have a coaches education system focused on tennis, and if possible, with connection with the international governing bodies like Tennis Europe and the ITF. And finally, promote tennis always. This seems like a no-brainer, and it would be expected that all of us, we promote tennis, but many times in the countries, depends on the culture, depends on the way that people are used to engage with federations and clubs. We like to do a lot of lists of the problems that we have, and like this, we provide a bad image of our sport when anyone comes to us and asks us questions about tennis. If we complain all the time and say that we have no support and nothing is happening and it's like a disaster, this is provides a bad image of tennis. So this is, you need to have this in mind. All of us need to have this in mind. Promotion of tennis is very important and good for all of us. And I will finish with this note. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I hope that this presentation and the recording of this session is also available from the Federation. I would like to thank the Hellenic Tennis Federation and especially Michalis Panagos for all the effort of hosting us and giving us the opportunity actually to deliver all these this program that we have been doing here. Thank you very much. Good morning.